Hello world, what you're looking at here is a ring binder full of copies of the ABBA magazine that was published from about 1977, in fact it was 1977, until the end of 1983. Now I used to have more copies of this than I do here. I used to have 2 ring binders full of these copies. Alright, it began life as the ABBA magazine, edited by somebody called Philip, and quite early in its publication the editor became Charlie Bates, who carried on with it when it then changed its title to the International ABBA magazine, which would have been about 1982, I think. If anybody knows, do let me know. You got these ring binders. You could buy them separately, but as I say, I mean, I never bought it from 1977. I'd have been too young. I had my 9th birthday at the end of 1977, so I would have been 8. And no, I mean, I think I picked up a few copies sort of round about 78. That's that kind of time. And you know, obviously at the time I didn't order it. You had to order them from your newsagents and go and pick them up, and I didn't order it until I was a little bit older, so I never got a whole set, but I certainly have more copies of it than I did here. And these ring binders were released quite late into the magazine's publication, so loads of editions of this that I had are now dumper bound somewhere, long gone. But I'll just sort of go through, I'll show you. So this is the International ABBA magazine, and we are now, this is Christmas New Year 1982 going on for 83. So ABBA have just been in London round about the end of November, beginning of December. They came did a big event and, you know, to publicise the singles the first 10 years, and then we heard nothing from them throughout all of 1983, really. So, you know, certainly not as a band. So all of these are the magazines from the very tail end of their career, and as you'll be able to see, sometimes they were really scraping the barrel for articles to publish about them, because they just weren't a current group, but they were just doing, I think the magazine were hedging their bets, just, you know, just to see how long they could go on for. So it was edited, as I say, by Charlie Bates in the United Kingdom. However, by the International magazine, which came out, as I say, around about 82, they got a French and a Dutch editor to write the editorial pieces here. It used to cost 60p, and actually throughout most of the magazine's publication it was 40p. In 1977, the first edition, as you'll see, cost 40 pence, which is about £2.25, which speaks to me of a band that were not into ripping off their fans. So, yeah, very, very reasonable price. So we'll have a very quick look through these. So we've got here, yep, the Christmas message from ABBA inside. Frida's Christmas message said, 1982 was really my year, and I have loved every minute of it. The worst thing about it is that it has gone too quickly. It was a fantastic experience going back into the studio and working on material that meant so much to me personally. Next year, it is Agnetta's turn to steal the limelight and mine to play second fiddle. I miss all the excitement, but I wish her all the best in her solo album and hope it is as successful for her as Something's Going On was for me. Happy Christmas. There's the centre of that Christmas 1982 edition. There's the letters page there. ABBA themselves used to contribute to the letters page when it was called Dear ABBA, but I don't know if you can see that, yeah. But they got too busy, I think, to do any replies, so they very rarely replied here. This was just the editor would occasionally put a reply in. Let's have a look at a letter from here, shall we? there? Right. I, speaking for myself personally, would like to know why us cassette buyers receive no song words when we buy a new album. Yes, I would have liked to have known that as well. It's very frustrating when we know that record buyers are getting better value for money. Why do we have to buy songbooks to accompany our tapes before we can really enjoy the music? Even if song sheets can't be packed into cassette cases, why can't they be handed over the shop counter? Depressingly, agony on Alice. P.S. Frida, something's going on. 10 out of 10. Charlie writes, letters like this infuriate me. It is packed full of questions, and at the beginning of this feature it is stated that questions are out. In any case, the answers are plainly obvious. With something like 100 releases a week, no record shop is going to handle lyric sheets just for cassette buyers. The distribution and handling headaches for what would be a free gift with every cassette, yet which comes separately from it, don't bear thinking about. The problem arises from some buyers' expectations of lyrics with each LP. In fact, some groups are stopping this now, and indeed before the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper it was virtually unheard of. Only recently have lyrics become prominent in record buyers' minds. Previously, anyone who wanted them bought the sheet music, and of course they still do. ABBA, a lyrical collection, not only has all ABBA's lyrics, I think I had that book somewhere, but some glossy colour pictures and illustrations, as well as a first line index that comes in very handy when you're humming a lyric but can't remember the whole song. It is a worthwhile book in itself, as well as being ideal for buyers of ABBA cassettes. There you go, that was the tenure, the tone of the I Speaking for Myself Personally letters page. This is February 83 we're on to now. We've still got pictures of ABBA in London. Centre page, ABBA in London. Another I Speaking for Myself Personally. Pen pals, do you remember those? Blimey. I didn't have a pen pal, but I did do an ABBA swap at one stage. ABBA in London again, with our lovely Kenny Everett on there. He was a very famous DJ and comedian who very, very sadly missed. He didn't have very long after this. There's an advert for Mick Tretov's Caramba album. Absolute rubbish. There's ABBA at their 10-year birthday party. ABBA in London Part 2. This is March now. This is March 1983. They were in London 4 months before that. My goodness. And then finally, by issue number 17, we're back to just having a picture of Bjorn. But it's a very old picture of Bjorn by the looks of things. Oh no! Oh no! It's not an old picture at all. It's 1983. He'd just grown the beard. ABBA the movie video offer. Goodness. Somewhere in one of these magazines, and I've got it somewhere, I've just flicked past it, is an article about the introduction of the CD. ABBA's The Visitors, I think, was one of the first albums to be released on CD, and Benny and Bjorn got a preview of it in 1982, and yeah, so there's an article in here about the CD. Be interesting to see what they say about that, really. Maybe I'll find it in a minute. Article, We Are the Music Men. That's Bjorn and Benny in their studio. Is that The Day Before You Came or Under Attack? Is that the single for that, or the cover for that? Frida as part of the Something's Going On publicity, I think that would have been. And Yetta here because there's a nice article. Oh, wait a minute. This is Voulez-vous parler avec Frida. Sorry, I'm getting me magazines stuck together, matron. There we go. Alright, so yeah, that's Voulez-vous parler avec Frida with a picture of Agneta on the cover, which confused me. It doesn't take a lot. Agneta's rap article about her first solo album, or this wasn't her first solo album, but it's, you know, her first English solo album, put it that way, post ABBA. And it's a shame, really, because, you know, all this time, as I say, throughout 1983, the fans are kind of being led on to believe that ABBA is still a going concern. We all knew in the back of our minds that they were splitting up. The rumours had gone throughout 82 and 83 that they were splitting up, and, you know, in a way, I mean, they just did jolly well to sort of keep the illusion going for as long as they did. There's Bjorn in the centre there, with his new beard. And then I've got my pages in a bit of a muddle here. I think two magazines are kind of intertwined here. And then there's the cover of Wrap Your Arms Around Me. It's quite a nice cover. It's probably the best thing about it, really. Watch ABBA the movie at home. Fan focus. Goodness me. Pictures of ABBA, you see. Do fans of groups write in pen and paper to their idols these days? Does Troye Sivan get sacksfuls of mail with pictures of him the way that, you know, people used to back in the day? You know, the internet's all very well and good, but I think there's, you know, the fact that, you know, despite the fact that it is the global superhighway and everything, it is a shame that, you know, the whole lot just becomes so impersonal nowadays. A pop star's webpage is basically an advert for their latest project, and order it from Amazon, click on Spotify. There's Frida there looking like a rock and roll fox chick. And Yetta in London, won't you stay? There we go. It's been ages since I've actually read this magazine. I only discovered this by chance because I saw on Facebook that somebody had got all three, or got 3 ring binders full of these things, which I was really jealous of. There we go. I, speaking for myself personally, has now been reduced from a double page to a single page. The contents are getting less and less. Win an autographed copy of The Heat Is On, and down here, Abracadabra, which was a very ill-fated musical where someone had taken the tunes of ABBA, rewritten lyrics to make this fairy story, and it was released in French and English. I think there was an English version as well. Frida got behind it a little bit, did some publicity for it. I think B.A. Robertson was the guy who put the thing together, but as you know, you can still actually hear it on Apple Music, so it's around. And I think they made a TV special of it as well, but yeah, it didn't last. It's not like Chess or something like that is still, you know, sort of going, as it were. And then finally, They admit the inevitable. ABBA have split up. There is no more music coming from them. So this is the final, for the time being, issue. There is a replica of the first magazine here, half-size one, which I still have. But yeah, that's it, folks. That was the ABBA magazine. Individual issues of that are going for about $7.99 upwards on eBay. Obviously, it's an auction site, people get what they can, but I've seen $7.99 each for them. Don't confuse them. There's a modern international official ABBA magazine or something. Don't be confused by that. Check the dates on them and you'll find some of these lovely collectible magazines, and you'll be able to have a good read yourself. But yeah, that was, sadly it was coming to an end, but that's a very sort of strong part of my childhood, was ordering the ABBA magazine, going to collect it, paying my 40p to Dave, the newsagent, who was across the road from me, and yeah, just good times really. And yeah, I will see you later, folks. Remember to like, subscribe, share if you dare, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.